Friday, and you're going to do it differently. My name is Perpetua of Dynamic Occupational Therapy. Every Friday we share some tips. So today we're going to look at fine motor skills progression. So how does fine motor skills progress? We start with shoulder stability, then we move to elbow and forearm rotation, then we move to wrist stability, then we come to the fine motor of the fine motor, that is the writing and all those activities. So today allow me to narrow in on just one, and that is shoulder stability and shoulder control. So this starts when the children are young, when they are toddlers, when they are infants, when they start crawling, when they start moving, pulling themselves up on their bed. So how do the children grow and develop? So naturally it's a natural stage, so they grow and develop naturally. So they start having control, more mature movements. But sometimes as the children progress, some will have challenges. And why would they have challenges with shoulder stability, we might ask? So if they have a challenge with the muscle tone, either if it is high or low, so tone is the normal state of the muscle. So if it is a high tone, the child will have challenge with the movement. If it is a low tone, the child will have still challenges with movement. The other thing is if there's a neuromuscular disorder, if there's anything that is affecting the child in that dynamic, they will have a problem with the muscle tone. The third thing is the sensory challenges. If they have challenges with their sensory motor skills or their sensory skills, or even anything in terms of sensory in related to learning, they will have a challenge with the movement at the shoulder. The fourth thing is if they have developmental delay. So if they have any form of delay in parts of their development, they will have a challenge with their movement at the shoulder and the control of the shoulder. As we might also know that every child develops differently. So it is important to consider this. And if there's any form of delay, it doesn't mean that your child has any disorders. It's just that it's just a delay. And maybe we need to help them to progress the next step faster, or we might just leave them at their own pace to catch up. So how do I know if my child has a problem with shoulder stability? If they have an inability to hold their arms steady, that is, if they find it very hard to hold something steady with one hand or things like that, or with both hands. If they have a challenge with big motor movement, that is the throwing, the catching and things like that, you'll notice it might be a highlighter that the child has a problem with shoulder stability. Another thing is if they have problem with accuracy, if they're trying to hit a target and they miss it 10 out of 10 times, then that child might be having a problem with shoulder stability. The fourth thing is if the child has a problem with any of the three skills under it. So now that I know my child has a problem, how do I remediate it? There are very many beneficial shoulder activities, but a point to note is that we need to consult with an occupational therapist and or a physiotherapist so that they'll be able to guide you which activities are good. They'll be able to assess the child. They'll be able to demonstrate some of these activities. So it is quite important, even after identifying your child has a problem, it is important to consult with an occupational therapist and or a physiotherapist so that they can walk you through it. So there we go. That is the fine motor progression. That is the first one we have, shoulder stability. Next week we're going to look at elbow and forearm rotation. If you like our video, subscribe on our YouTube page at Dynamic Occupational Therapy Limited. See you next week.